So will I get this Peregrine flight shot? Well, I'll give you a clue. If you're watching this, I obviously did, because otherwise I'm going to erase it and not bother putting it up. No jokes here, no tricks. So I've been watching this Peregrine. It's been here twice on this ledge. I've got some really good photos which went into my last video, which I'm sure some of you saw. So obviously likes this ledge now. I've heard reports that it's been here a few times, so I'm going to make the most of it. I got here the other day and I did some filming of it. I was here for about 20 minutes and it looked a bit sleepy. I thought there's no way it's taking off. So I went off walking and I got about 5 minutes away and saw it flying. So I can't stand with my camera pointed at it. So I'm just going to wait until I see some movement and then throw my camera up. Let's see how this plays out. So he's getting a bit more lively, or she. Can anyone tell me what it is? Is it a female or a male from the video? I don't know what I'm looking for, what features. If you say size, I can't tell because there's nothing to compare it to up there. Yeah, I'm at about 5,000 ISO, 1/2000th of a second shutter speed. And it's that decision. You obviously want it to fill the frame. So you want to be, I could zoom all the way in, but you're just going to cut the wings off. So you're making a decision to sort of hover around 500 to 600 millimeters and hoping you know which way the bird's going to fly. So you have to sort of like hope that if it looks right, it's going to fly right. It looks left, but then it could fly straight down, or it could jump up, and then you're sort of flicking the camera all over the place. You only have to cut a tiny bit of wing out of the frame, and you have to ditch it. Yeah, it's a bit more active now, moving around. I was just witness to a little poop. I was thinking about filming it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it might probably take off soon. I better stop filming. Well, a bird just caught my eye going off to the left. I thought it might have been one of the resident kestrels, but it was a sparrowhawk. I could have used it here the other day to make 5 raptors. I mean, if you stayed here all day, there's a very good chance you could go sparrowhawk, kestrel, peregrine, hobby, buzzard, marsh harrier, red kite. Yeah, it should be possible to get a 7 raptor day. Might do that one day when I'm bored and I'm thinking of little YouTube ideas. I just managed to get a couple of shots off just to confirm what it was. I pretty much knew it was a sparrowhawk, even the subtle way it flew and the wing shape, even from that distance, and it being a tiny dot, I could see what it was. Well, it flew and I caught it. It nearly caught me there. I thought it was going to have a stretch. It sort of started to stretch and then just like turned and went, and luckily, bang, hit it with the electronic shutter mode. Unfortunately, the electronic shutter mode causes a bit of a rolling shutter effect. So a couple of the lines at the top of the frame from the building are a bit sloped. Yeah, should I played it safe and had it on electronic first curtain? Yeah, it was a big enough bird that I wouldn't have needed too fast a shutter speed. On one of them, a couple of them actually, I was at 2,000th of a second, and even then the edges of the wings were slightly blurred. So even with a Peregrine Falcon not exactly flapping very fast, it does cause some wing blur, and I probably would have needed to go 2500th of a second. Anyway, got a couple of usable shots there. I'm happy with that. Yeah, it seems to only sit up there for about 20 minutes at a time, because when I first saw it, I could see it from right down by the outflow using my 800mm lens. I could see the little black dot. So I walked up here, it took about 10 minutes. So yeah, the last couple of times it's been a sort of 20-minute stay. So it flew off round to the west side of the building. I was hoping it might come back. I'm going to stand here for 10 minutes and see, because I've already had the sparrowhawk and the peregrine. But there's a couple of nice usable photos there. This cormorant kept me hanging about a bit. When I just finished with the peregrine, something caught my eye out in the water. Now, this has happened before. I recognize the behavior. There are cormorants that hunt further in, and there are, let's get that grammar correct. There are ones that hunt further out, and they come up with the big boys, the big daddy fish. So I'm going to just look through my archive and find a couple of photos of cormorants that come up with big flatfish, and they were trying to swallow. So this guy, or this girl here, I was having a yawn. This guy here, I saw him out there, and his throat was really thick. So I thought, right, he's got something. Maybe he's going to bring it up and try and get it back down. It was distant, and the heat haze was bad, so it wouldn't have been great, but it could have been a bit of a fight. Something come up. Maybe if it was a crab, it would have been fantastic to see. So I filmed it for about 3 minutes, and then it took off and flew up here, and I was hoping that it would land there and spit it up and fight with it, and I'd have got some better footage. It never happened. But I think maybe the flying and the landing there help him sort of stretch his neck out and swallow it. But it's good that happened, because when I look back, I saw the peregrine do a couple of passes, one high up, and then go round and land on the roof just above where he was on the ledge. So I made my way down there, and he flew out, and it took me a couple of seconds to clock that it was the peregrine instead of a pigeon. So I've got some footage from the eye. It isn't great, but it's probably some of the better peregrine footage, because I've got literally none. I've got a few from a distance and shaky and whited out sky. So I'm just trying to get that great footage of a peregrine one day. I'm going to need a better camera. This setup's never going to handle birds in flight, really. And then while hanging around here, it was worth it. I always like to film any kind of unusual behavior. There was a lesser black-backed gull being chased by a black-headed gull and chasing a black-headed gull, it looked like. That usually means that the gull in front being chased has something in its beak, and then the lesser black-backed gull gave up, so maybe it was just having a bit of territorial dispute. And you get to see the size difference in these guys. I mean, I think the greater black-backed gull, when we were in Wales, the guide on the boat was telling us that I think they're trying to reclassify the greater black-backed gull as a raptor, because I don't know if anybody's ever seen that footage of one swallowing a rabbit. They are big. Yeah, I think they're the biggest gull in the world, if that's correct. Anyone confirm that? Yeah, they are beasts. It's not until you see them up close, they're just gigantic. Yeah, so I don't know if you can hear them. It's mostly goldfinch at the moment. Yeah, we've got a big resident flock of them and a lot of juveniles in there, so they've bred really well this year. But yeah, around here, just had a mixed flock of long-tailed tits, chiffchaffs, great tits, blue tits. And here's a little secret for you. Whenever you see that, particularly in woods or, well, anywhere there's trees, really look carefully, because in the past I've definitely caught firecrest and goldcrest hanging out with them. They all like to go as one big mixed flock between the trees, picking out insects. And yeah, I'm staring at them very carefully. I was like, that's a very small bird. You can see a goldcrest. It's easy to spot, actually, very, very small. But yeah, like I said, goldcrest and firecrest. So listen out for the long-tailed tits. That's the big giveaway. They're cool. And then examine the birds in the flock. Move around, look. I mean, pick the ones that don't have the long tails. The more unusual one in the flock will be a chiffchaff, if you want something unusual. But there was a bit of a scruffy looking one in that lot I just had. Also, we have our own private mini starling murmuration on the River Thames. They like to go and hang out on the barges. They'll go up and then they'll just go down and land on a barge. And it's quite something to see. I don't know if it gets any bigger than that. A couple of thousand in there, I reckon. What do you reckon?